Sometimes when relatives pass away, there are probably some words that need to have been said. In this episode, we have Karl, who reached out to us via email. He had unexplained experiences in his room and wanted to share his experiences in case we could shed light on what has been happening of late. Minutes into the call, Liz and Sam were able to see and feel a spirit beside Karl. Could this be the moment that Sam's abilities reactivate? Join us in this call with Karl as we find out which spirit was shaking his bed. Enjoy.
I was medyo worried nga because like I feel like my email was like it sort of spiraled at some point. Parang it just like changed from the topic from what I was asking about.
Okay lang naman. Actually, very timely nga lang yung email mo.
Oh
One,
really?
because we talked to a doctor, yes, 2 days ago. We talked to a doctor who can see auras.
Okay.
So, nakakita siya aura. And then, I was as of today and yesterday, I was editing our call with this girl from Amsterdam that could also see auras. So, I mean, napipiece together ko lang dun sa email mo. So, our guest tonight is Karl. And he actually emailed us and he started with Budget Tan's episode. And yun nga, you were saying na you had a question actually that can certain people have an aura that attract ghosts. So, unahan ko na, I'll tell you the stuff I've heard. And Sam or Liz can corroborate or give their own opinion of it. For me, sabi ni girl from Amsterdam, she said na when she's angry or when she's sad, somehow this attracts negative entities for some reason. She doesn't know why. Pero for some reason, it attracts negative entities. And yun rin ang narinig naming story from other people. I'm not sure if you've heard of that story na Haunted House QC. I forgot the number. Where this girl that when she gets angry, her friend with the third eye tells her na she sees disheveled woman near this girl when she's angry. So parang yun, if you emit aura of fear or sadness, extreme sadness, it somehow emanates in that dimension and that attracts it acts like a beacon to some entities na yun, they grab on to it or they are attracted to it. So yun.
Oo, when it comes to, depende kasi yun. Kasi like for example, for me, um, I've, as a kid, I wouldn't know if I was happy or sad, right? So I was able to do that regardless of my emotion. But other people that has indeed extreme or yung mga hindi pa nakaka-experience before, tapos they went through extreme change, like for example, um, a tragedy or something to that extent. Biglang natitrigger yung gano'n nila, yung capability nila, which means that ever since naman before, meron siya, pero na-amplify lang dun sa emotions na meron sila.
So yun, Carl, I'm not sure. So also Carl mentioned na he emailed rin because as of that night, at 3 a.m. on the dot, his bed started shaking. So the usual, yeah. So do you want to go through it with us?
Okay. Because me naman, I'm usually a night owl, so I don't really sleep that early then. But it was so weird because like around I think like a month before, or like a month, 2 months before, my Lola passed away. And then I was asked to write a letter to him. And the thing was, I was like really angry and resentful because nga, I didn't really have super good terms with him when he died. So when I like wrote the letter, I was medyo angry at the person who was making me write it. And then that same day, my bed would start to shake. Like it would shake. And it's so weird because I don't even know what direction it's shaking. Because the you can like feel the man, oh, it's shaking side to side or shaking forward to back. I couldn't tell. And then, so it would go on for like about a week and then it stopped. It started doing it again. And then it was so bad na, like I have a side table and I usually have a glass of water and you could like feel it shake talaga. Like there was an earthquake. So like I spent the entire night just looking at Twitter, like, is there an earthquake, diba? Because that's usually where you check.
Yes.
And there was nothing. Like the following days after that, I would feel like sort of like poking or touching.
Mm-mm.
But like before naman then I would, but now it's just been like more frequent. Now I would like feel like poking and touching, like usually around my shoulders, like because I sleep on my side, so my shoulders, the back of me.
But did you ever do anything like Spirit of the Glass or Ouija
N-
board?
No, I've as a kid I've wanted to though. I would Google it, but I would never try it at all.
So it only started after that
Yeah,
the
the
death.
shaking specifically only started afterwards. And now it's still happening now. It's just kind of weird.
Ah,
But
really?
now, yeah,
Oh.
it still is. But the thing is now, it's like sometimes it's the whole bed, but sometimes it's only the foot of my bed that shakes. And then I would feel like sort of like things like around my feet, or sometimes I'd feel like pulsating on my back, stuff like that.
Mm-mm.
But like I've learned for some reason, like there are certain conditions that when I put myself in, it doesn't happen. So like now I have like my closets are all closed. I have three different lamps. I have three lamps on. So I have a red light, and then I have my humidifier, and then I have like this lamp that you recharge for camping, and I put on the other side so that there's still a little bit of illumination. Because I notice it really happens talaga when it's like really dark in my room. So I don't sleep talaga with the lights off.
To tell the viewers what I did was when Karl emailed us, I told him about yung tips ni Miss Star. So she told us again, when she goes to other countries kasi, when she sleeps in a hotel, most of the time, there are spirits in the hotel. Ay, yun, feeling ko because she is sensitive, it comes out through her, may light siya ni-emit or I don't know eh. I haven't asked other sensitives about it actually. Ginagawa niya is she brings rock salt and black tourmaline. So you can buy this black tourmaline in Shopee or on merong store si Mr. Shop Soulfully. It's on Facebook. She puts this in the four corners of her bed and the spirits don't bother her daw talaga. And we've talked to other practitioners and they say the same thing. They say the same thing. So I'm not sure if you want to try that para hindi ka maistorbo. I know, again, it's up to you. Sige Sam, I think si Sam may reading si Sam.
Ako na naman ang may reading.
Hindi kasi
No, I'm just kidding. No, so I feel, okay, so ang nakikita ko kasi sa'yo, and this is nothing on the supernatural part, okay? It's just more of like, an observation. You're, so this started right after the death? Am I correct?
Not exactly right after, because like he passed away like about a month, and then I had to write a letter, and then right after I wrote it, I feel like he like read it or something, because I was just typing it on my phone on my bed, and parang I have a feeling that he read it and then maybe he got offended or something, and then that's when it started like shaking, because it wouldn't happen immediately after, but like a few minutes after, like 15 minutes, and then there would be like sort of intervals pa, like 30 minutes, and then it would shake again, and it's just like, yeah.
Oh, okay. So, because I'm seeing kasi that this, yeah, indeed, clearly nandoon siya. And it was read, yes. Um, Feeling ko kasi, and just correct me if I'm wrong, ha, that whatever that you wrote down on your piece of paper, he's acknowledging it, but there are as well other, how do you call it, meron din siyang gustong message sa'yo to clarify everything. I feel like there are words not mentioned or not said, kaya medyo ganun yung, how do you call that, yung,
pangungulit.
pangungulit. Ang question ko is that while the shaking is happening, what do you do? Kasi there are times that medyo yes, shake siya kasi physical manifestation yon. Pero wala ka bang naririnig? Kasi I feel like meron siyang sinasabi. The only thing is that you're too worried with the shaking that you
Mm-hmm.
are not actually listening to what the spirit is saying. Nararamdaman na din siya ni literally nandyan lang siya sa paligid mo. I'm not gonna say where. Pero
Okay.
may sinasabi siya. But unfortunately, since the message is not for me, hindi ko naririnig. So it's going to be up to you literally on how you're going to, how do you call that? Ikaw yung mag-decipher
Decipher.
kung ano yung message niya. Kasi hindi sa akin eh.
It's actually kind of scary because I'm in my living room right now, and we brought his urn home before he like literally I think like 2 days ago, they finally like put him in the place where you keep the urn. So his for the longest time his urn was just there, and I'm just like, and his picture's still there actually. So I feel like he is still here because the day that they took away the urn, it was so strange because I never smell anything, but that day specifically when I got into my room, I smelled like burnt. I smelled sort of like ash, that sort of thing. So I feel like he is telling me that he's still here. But yeah, in regards naman to your question for what I do when I shake, it's kasi I want to sleep then. So medyo naiinis ako or medyo natatakot ako. Like I think I told you in the email, right? I was
Hmm.
like, oh, when when the bed shakes, I'm like, oh, please stop. I'm scared na. And then that's
Hmm.
usually when it grows stronger pa. So for me, that's what kind of scares me. I'm like, is this him or is it like a different entity that's living in my house? Because the thing is, before we moved in here, this house, it wasn't used for like a solid like 5 to 7 years. And then like my siblings naman, they'd always talk about ghosts in the house. My yayas then, they'd say there are ghosts in the house. And then for me naman, I've had my own experiences then with that. But I don't know. That's why it's medyo worrying for me if it actually is him or not.
Ganito kasi yan, usually, like, it happened to me, that the trigger or the switch is a family member. Um, yung sa akin, yung lola ko yung kumbaga parang siya yung nag-switch on sa akin.
Hmm.
I think what's really happening right now is that if ever that you, how do you call that, accept this from your lolo's message, um, everything else magiging open ka na. See, the thing is that the reason why a lot of people that has yung mga third eye and psychics and stuff like that, it usually starts from the house, and then once that it is accepted by the person who has the ability, tsaka lang siya magiging open sa lahat. So, very rare yung spirit, yung psychic sa kapitbahay. Nakasuka na, yung kapitbahay nila yung una nilang nakitang spirit.
Oo.
Very
Oo.
rare yon. Mostly laging either lola nila or parents nila or died sibling and stuff like that. So, yun yung ganun ko. Actually, pinag-usapan nga namin kanina ni because we have a chat group. Tinatanong ko, ang una kong tanong kasi is that, are you willing to accept it?
Mhm.
Kasi pag inaccept mo na talaga siya, down the rabbit hole ka na. Kasi everything
Okay.
else, you'll feel na, if that makes sense.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense naman. Yeah.
So do you feel that you have parang a sensitivity? Kasi you mentioned na parang you might be attracting other things.
For me, what I think I think a part of it is really like, the way you're talking about kids, parang they're more sensitive. Because
Mhm.
it really happened to me talaga when I was like younger pa. But then, like it's really recently talaga that I'm noticing a lot of like weirder stuff going on.
Mhm.
So it was just medyo strange lang for me. And then I think another part of it also is like if there is another entity nga in this house, like a ghost or something, I wouldn't be surprised if they're just like sort of being playful with me. Because um after I sent the email, other
Mhm.
stuff then happens. Like my aircon, sometimes it would make weird sounds, and I just said, "Can you stop it?" And then the aircon it would like stop making sounds at all. Or when I was a kid naman, I would sit down at the computer, and the computer's right beside my parents' room, and they have a door that isn't very nicely hinged. The hinge is like very loose. So I would say open, and then the door would open and then close. And it would just like I spent like the entire afternoon just doing that. And then it was very like strange lang for me.
It's possible that merong ibang ganyan. We talked to this girl na, yun nga, what do you call this? Yung girl from Amsterdam who could see auras. She was describing the gifts of her mother, and sa mother niya, may strong power to send energy. She could literally send energy, and yun nga, that, I mean, it sounds super out there when you think about it. Parang the force, di ba? Some people have that ability. I'm not sure if it's innate in you or may nag-help sa'yo to do that, but kailangan open-minded ka here.
Yeah.
I mean, di ba? Pero I mean, yes, it's possible that, I'm not sure if you've listened to that episode, yung kaibigan gusto ko lumipad. They would
Oh,
just
not
say
yet.
it. They don't see that person or whatever that entity is, and they would just say, I want to fly. And they fly, and they flew. So it could be from whatever entity is there that is helping you move the door. Di ko alam eh. I
Yeah.
cannot say.
Doon sa mga kwento ng mga, narinig ko kanina, yaya mo yata or yung
Yeah.
mga siblings mo. May reoccurring na female figure silang nakikwento.
Yes. Yes. Actually, yes.
Kasi ganon, kasi yung reoccurring na female na diyan is anong tawag dito? Nauna pa siya sa inyo diyan.
Mm-hmm.
So the female entity that I'm connected to is hindi naman papunta na ng senior citizen level.
Yeah.
Yung ganon, yung kasi ang una ko sa totoo lang when you first open your camera, I felt that there's a female elderly around you. Pero kaya medyo naguluhan ako kasi sabi mo lolo mo yung sabi ko sino to?
Yeah.
Yun yung tinatanong ko sino to. That's the reason why I asked. And it feels as if nauna siya dyan sa area na yan. I don't know if she died there or anything. It's just that sabi mo nga kanina, di ba, para may 5 years na gap.
Yeah, it was a long time. Yeah.
So usually pag yung mga houses na ganon, actually nakuha ko din to in a how do you call that? Kay Miss Star sa isa niyang mga videos before na parang if the reason why the house is attractive to the spirits and elementals. Remember mo that the spirits and elementals are on the below frequency.
Yes.
Which means tahimik siya.
Mm-hmm.
So pag tahimik talaga yung house, nagzi-zero frequency siya, nakaka-attract siya sa mga spirit. Oh, exactly. So yun yung reason kung bakit automatic pag medyo ganun, medyo how do you call that, medyo walang tao sa bahay, talagang automatic nagkakaroon siya ng attraction sa sa supernatural. The how to counter it, however, parang ang sabi ni Star, meron daw siyang pinapatugtog, like sabi ni Karl Estrada. Sabi ni Carla Estrada, kasi napanood ko yung gano'n, yung sa Magandang Buhay, is that kahit daw, kasi kabilang bahay lang daw yata nila yung isang walang tao, kahit daw meron 24 hours daw na music, meron silang charge na MP3, tapos dire-diretso lang yung music, 24 hours daw talaga. Kasi pag daw nga namamatay, biglang nagsi-zero audio, automatic biglang merong manifestation agad. Kasi may mga nakaabang.
Okay.
Na-mention rin ni Miss Star yun na whenever she goes cleansing, if I remember right, may dala siyang parang bell na may certain tone na nakaka I guess diffuse kung whatever yung nasa ano. Actually, joining the call is our silent partner here,
Hello.
JJ. So si JJ actually, if you've listened to it, he started with the episode Malevolent Spirits, and sila what they did was they just kept inviting people to the house. They knew there was something there. And what they did was they kept inviting people to the house. They knew there was a malevolent spirit there. Something medyo negative. They just kept the house busy. Always someone inside the house. If you can, parang be happy about it, I guess. May music or... So that helps negate it. You cannot really push them away. Parang yun, you could put safeguards, ganon.
That makes a lot of sense actually, because especially the female figure one, medyo na-freak out ako dyan. Because I mentioned the email, right, na parang the rise of parang I would see like somebody like in the back of the mirror. And it's not usually when I look at it, it's usually when I pass by.
Can you tell us about that, for at least for the listeners who haven't?
Okay, so basically, I was watching kasi the episode about the mom, and she was saying, and then was it the star who was saying that? I'm not so sure, but so they were saying that there's like a rise in paranormal sort of energy.
Yes, yes.
And I did notice that, especially now with the mirror and the lady, because I would always walk by the mirrors at night because I like to eat snacks, and I always see like somebody there. And then to me that like freaked me out so much. But now parang I'm like, okay, hi, diba? But so now medyo I feel like I'm on good terms with them. But that's medyo interesting lang na there is talaga a person here. Kasi my sister then, when she was a kid, she would talk about seeing a white lady or something like that. Basta a lady when she was alone. Kasi we have like 3 floors in our house. And then at the very third floor, she'd be left alone and she would just like talk about it to our yaya. And then around Halloween time naman, we have a rocking chair. So it would rock by itself like around that time. So it's medyo scary. And then my yayas naman in Bacolod, they would leave like really quickly because they've had experiences with like supernatural stuff. And they'd say naman, they'd see like a cat outside. And then when they look back, it's like a lady. So connected to me naman, what Sam was saying.
Yeah.
Kasi ganun eh. Kasi it's not much of a white lady. Actually, parang, sorry for the term, I don't know if you know the person na pagre-referan ko. Very Miss Minchin yung outfit niya and very gray lang yung damit.
Oh, okay.
Hindi siya white eh. More on gray tone yung damit niya. So, but yes indeed, medyo matagal na siya dyan. Tapos manifestation niya yung pusa. So, either pag nakakita ka kasi na gano'n napaka-specific na.
Go lang, go
Pag
lang.
nakakita ka ng
It's
gano'n
okay.
ng medyo grayish, yung dirty white na pusa, siya na yon.
Okay.
Siya yon. Kasi nagma-manifest din siya.
I wanted to reach out then kasi I wanted to reach out about like my house kasi I found it weird. Now we're in like a really suburban area kasi I was like listening to the episodes and it's always like, oh, there's like a puno there. But for us kasi we're like in the middle of like the city talaga. So I was like, how is it na parang there were entities here? Like, so I'm happy na that kind of cleared up kasi I was really freaked out by that. I'm like, nah, wala namang puno here. There's no damo, there's nothing. Like it's all concrete around us.
Ang
So,
lumalabas minsan, ako, pero di ko alam kung may nasisend sila, Sam. Pero sa akin kasi, yung mga lumalabas ng mga kwento, ang duwende, technically parang house entity sila eh. I mean, yes, may nature aspect pa rin sila, pero parang ang duwende medyo house entity. So I'm not sure if meron dyang duwende. Hindi ko alam.
Di ba, nasabi ko na sa iyo yan, na parang mga 20 kasi, dahil house dwelling sila and family din sila ng, parang may family, core din sila ng family. So, mas mabilis sila maka-adapt sa society natin. Oo. So, unlike the others na medyo hostile talaga ang... Kasi pero I've never seen a female tikbalang.
yeah.
So, I don't know. Pero I've seen a female dwarf. So, medyo meron siyang balance of... Kasi pareho tayo ng structure ng family nila. Unlike the other entities. So, possible. Pero yung house mo is not the person inside or the spirit inside is a human spirit, not
Okay.
elemental.
Okay.
But remember kasi na ang kahit saan ka pumunta, possible kasi magka-spirit regardless kung nasa sa concrete jungle ka or rainforest. May
Yeah,
spirit at may
okay.
spirit dyan. The only difference is that sa concrete jungle o sa city locations, more on human spirit kasi mas bombarded sila ng tao. Unlike pag sa mga foresty na lugar, medyo at mga barangay kinembo, yan, medyo lumabas yung kumembot. Um, na ganon, medyo elemental side siya kasi
Spirit, yeah.
may possibility na elemental yon. Kaya mas mahirap magbasa ng house na katulad ng kay Liz na concrete tapos pinapalibutan siya ng forest
Puno.
kasi hindi ko maintindihan kung ano yung nakikita ko tao lang ba to o spirit kasi yun yung mahirap.
I have a question if there's like a correlation then because I've been noticing this really weird thing. It's like black dust like by my bed. Because I'm an artist, so I know naman if it's paint or not. But for me, I noticed it's not paint eh. It's like I've been noticing like a lot of black speckles like on my bed. Tapos I was wondering then if you guys like have anything like any ideas what that could be. Because I've been noticing talaga it's really my bed.
Since when?
Since like when did we start emailing? I think like the weekend after I noticed that there was like black dots beside my bed, like because I sleep naman to my side, so I know
Mm.
naman it's not me. That wala lang, I just noticed that. I really feel like I don't know why it's always my bed, like the shaking. And then I also talked to you about my sleep paralysis, and I
Yes.
noticed I only get sleep paralysis when my hands extend outside of my bed. So for
Okay.
me, that's just like a concern that I have. Like, I don't know. Like it's if my arm is like out or if it's my leg, it's always that's when I get sleep paralysis the most. And it's really weird because I don't hear things or I don't see things naman. Like I've only seen a ghost, like a real ghost, I think once in my life. Now face on.
Mm.
But like otherwise it's always tactile for me. It's always like a touching on the shoulder talaga or the coldness and the breeze.
Before we proceed to the black dust, can you tell us about that experience with the ghost na nakita mo? Or?
Okay, it's actually still in it's in the same subdivision, but it's not really that important to me because it was just like a kid. Tapos I would climb up the ladder to this playground, and then
Mm.
I look up, and then I see this like man. He's like pale, and then his face is like very deformed. As in like I couldn't see his eyes talaga. It was like almost like he had like tumors like around his face and stuff like
Mm.
that. Tapos parang nakabarong siya. And then I just looked up and I was like, no, I don't want to mess with that. And
Mm.
then I went
Mm.
back down.
I'm not sure. The episode hasn't come out, but sila Sam, we were talking about it before. Sometimes entities also take the shape of humans. So I'm not sure if whatever you saw was actually human spirit or an entity. Kasi sometimes ang best judge for that would be sensitives because they would be able to feel if it was
Yeah.
an entity or a human spirit. Pero yung, ewan ko yung pagka-describe nyo nung tumor sa face, parang sa kwento nyo sa Capri na mukhang ogre na walang discernible.
Question ko, this is a trick.
Mm-hmm.
If there's an entity around you, okay, my question here is kasi kung doon ba sa pagkakakita mo sa kanya, um, ano yung naramdaman mo? Na other
Other
than
than
fear,
fear,
ano yung naramdaman mo?
I don't know. For me naman, it was a long time ago but I think it was more of like, sort of like a coldness, I'd say. I'm not so sure, but that's sort of how I felt.
Mm.
Parang like a danger, I guess, also.
Good.
Sort of how I felt.
Kasi then that means that what you saw is just a manifestation of an entity. Kasi yun yung
Okay.
nakakatakot para sa'yo. Kasi when it comes to a human spirit, and this is something as well that you can make use of once na nag-start na ulit mag-shake yung kama mo later,
Okay.
is ano yung feeling, ano yung emotion na nararamdaman mo. Kasi pag ang haunting is connected to an emotion, like for example, malungkot, galit,
Mm-hmm.
ano ba tawag dito, saya. Yan kasi is more on a human spirit.
Okay.
Kasi may emotion sila. Ang entity kasi literal wala yan.
Mm-hmm.
It's a ride or die for them. Kung galit ka galit ako sa'yo, mararamdaman mo yon. Kasi talagang
Yeah.
magkakaroon ka ng boils, magkakaroon ka ng mamamagana yung hita mo, ganyan. Ganun sila do or don't lang sila eh. So kung galit sila sa'yo, you will literally feel the manifestation. Mayroon tayong mga documented na mga videos all across the media na pagalimbawa, nakatapak sa nuno sa punso, biglang namamaga yung paa.
Ako
Yun.
meron
Kasi
yun.
automatic on attack sila, attack mode agad sila.
Okay.
So pag ang mga spirits are more on nararamdaman mo na may lungkot, may galit, tao 'yon. Other than that, yung iba automatic elemental 'yon. So nararamdaman mo lang sila, nakikita mo sila, but you don't literally feel anything other than natakot ka kasi nakakatakot yung mukha nila. 'Di ba? Yun.
Okay. That's very insightful to me. I think, yeah, especially when I go to the province, parang that's what I noticed then. There's like a lot of like medyo spooky things that I see. Like
Like,
like I don't know, especially like with like regards to the aura, because I notice it only happens to me. Like I'm the oldest of four siblings, and voila, they feel nothing. They see some stuff, but for me, I'm the target talaga. Like one specific time that stands out to me talaga was we went to Boracay, and then I got really sick to the point na I in the middle of the night I would stand up, I would walk down because it's like a three-story like parang apartment that we borrowed, and
mm,
then I would walk down the stairs. I would go into my parents' room. I'd go into the CR. I'd stand there, and then I would go back up. And then I did that like three times until my mom started like shaking me, waking me up because she was saying I was like saying stuff na. She was like, I was very indiscernible because it's scary then because I'm like this huge dude. I'm like almost 6 foot tall.
mhm.
I'm very big. And she was scared na like what's happening to me. So
Yes.
it's always talaga me. And then another time naman, I was in Malabon at this factory, and then the house naman beside it is old. And my lola naman, she saw like the people who live there, which was like this girl. And I would like sit down in the office waiting, and I would see like the statues. There are different statues. And then the Joseph statue would like look at me, and they would like wink at me. So, and then nobody would see it naman except for me talaga. So I'm just like, bakit ako, Lord, you know?
Mm. Possibly, oh. Ganun. Asama, I'm not sure if ganun. Na, di ko natanong to sa mga nakakakita ng aura, pero do sensitives, yung mga may abilities, do they emit something? Do they show something na which attracts
Um,
ganyan?
yeah, may question lang ako.
Hmm.
Yung, this manifestation ng mga, yung nakikita ng aura, um, yung nagpunta kayo ng Boracay, question ko is,
Yeah.
did this happen after the death of your lolo or
No, way before.
before?
Like
Before.
really before. But it's been happening again actually. Like specifically that sleep thing. It's been happening again after he died. It happened twice, but it isn't to the extent that I would walk around. Parang I would sleep. And then when people would walk into my room, I would like scream at them. Parang something like that. And I wouldn't remember at all. Like I would shout so much. And then parang I wouldn't like process what was going on. And at some point then parang they were saying I was making like almost like a crying sound, like a moaning. So it was medyo strange. Like I was asking my brother pa the morning after. He didn't want to talk to me because he was so scared of me na at that point. And he couldn't describe it talaga. He went to my mom. He's like, something's wrong with him. And I'm like, okay, I don't know what I can do.
Actually, ni-refer ko rin si Karl sa ESP. Again, if you want, you can
Yeah,
reach out to them kasi they might have better answers. I
probably.
mean,
I'll,
insightful answers.
I'll
Kasi they
ask.
deal with this eh. Oh, sa akin, parang lumalabas, parang channel siya. Parang may pumapasok sa'yo, parang ganun eh. Hindi ko alam kung ganun yung tama yung basa ko. So, there is a protection for that, which hindi ko lang alam. I'm not sure if si Miss Star may nasabi about it, but I think you can keep something on your body to protect you from being, it's not possession, it's kind of like channeling.
Kasi ganun to ha, to be honest, kanina kasi nung na-mention mo, kanina sabi mo, di ba, kasi nag-sleep paralysis ka din. And then, meron ka din palang history ng sleepwalking.
Yeah. But it's weird because that's the only time it happened. I've never slept walked in my entire life. It was only that time na parang I woke up and then I would go down the stairs and then I would talk like random nonsense to my parents.
Pero
So
your eyes were open, ganun. Meaning,
apparently my eyes were open for some of it. Yeah. Like when I started talking to them, my eyes were open. And then when I go down the stairs then.
Kasi ganun na, kasi I'm canceling out other, other probably psychological issues. Okay?
Yeah.
Or physical problem. Kasi ako kasi din minsan, pag halimbawa nakakatulog ako ng yung nakalaylay, Tagalog eh.
Yeah.
Yung nakahang yung kamay, syempre sa edad kong to, Masakit siya. Masakit siya.
Yeah.
Tapos pag nagigising ako, parang feeling ko nga talaga may nakadagan sa akin. And I
Mm-hmm.
will just be honest. So, nung sinasabi mo siya sa akin, I actually checked that off of my checklist kung baka mamaya nga meron kang sleep paralysis or nangalay lang yung katawan
Mm-mm,
mo
mm-mm.
kaya you're feeling
Yeah.
okay. So kaya lang kasi nung na-mention mo nga sa akin na meron kang na may episode ka na nag-sleepwalk ka before.
Yeah.
Um it, meron may may nararamdaman kasi ako so doon sa previous house nyo kasi sabi mo lumipat na kayo dyan, di ba?
Yeah. No, we're still here. No,
So, pero
kasi the house, we parang just pina-Airbnb lang namin. Like in Boracay, that's Airbnb lang. So,
Okay. So, nung 5 years na wala kayo dyan sa house na yan, nasan
nasaan
kayo?
kayo?
we were in QC lang. Like, yeah, we were in a different house. A
Ah,
much smaller house. Yeah.
so, ano yung kwento mo doon sa bahay na yon? Kasi I believe that doon mo siya nakuha.
I think as like a kid kasi, the only thing that I know na medyo weird was like I would draw like this man. It's like this pale man, very slender. And at first I thought it was just like some made up guy na my yayas would like tell me about. Like they'd scare me with him because I would draw and I would write his name. I forgot na his name, but it was very weird. But yeah, I think that's the only thing that I really remember na may ganon in that house.
Paul Slenderman. Nakaitim na damit?
Yeah, actually, yes.
Teka lang. Hindi ba
Bawal
kaya
sana.
ito ang ganun mo? Hindi ba kaya ito ang bantay mo?
Bantay? I don't know. Kasi parang, I don't really feel naman his presence now. I don't really
You,
notice
you
anything like
usually
that.
don't feel your bantay not unless
Okay.
you know that there is one.
Yeah.
Pero kasi so nung naglalakad ka pababa from sleeping natutulog na sa sleepwalk ka
Yeah.
and you were talking to your brother
Parents.
apparently and
Oh.
parents, do you sound old?
No naman. It was weird because the one phrase that they actually got out was like something like, you smell like mom. Something like that. And I was just like, what does that mean, diba? It's just very nonsensical lang. But when it was like in this house na, it would be just screaming lang. It would just be like, ha, huh? And then like screaming and shouting. Parang ganon.
So feeling ko ganun siya. Feeling ko kung mapapangalanan mo ulit yung bantay mo, doon mo lang siya magagamit to protect you.
Okay.
Oo.
I have a question.
Mhm.
Your mom knows about this, right?
Yeah, I talked to her about this.
And then what did she say?
She said kasi recently she just made friends with this tarot reader. So she's asking her now if she can like cleanse her house. So that's sort of what we're trying to figure out now.
Okay, because there's one time my daughter was also having nightmares. But the steps that I took her to doctors first. I took her to a neurologist. I took her to a dev bed and all. But yun nga, eventually I found out that there was something pala in our house. That's why she can't sleep. She's having nightmares. She was running around and she was screaming, "Mom, he's coming for me," something like that. And it was every single night. And I was so scared, as in we were running around, as in habulan talaga. The only person that was able to help me was the exorcist that we talked to. So maybe if he's free,
Yeah.
baka
Oo.
pwedeng.
We can ask also. Oo.
Magsasalita ako, nakamute ako.
Oo, nakamute ka.
Remember din kasi guys na ganun, cleansing of the house doesn't really work if the house is not
Oo.
haunted.
Okay.
Kasi apparently, ikaw lang yung haunted.
Yeah, ako
Oo
lang.
I don't know nga how to say that to you kasi you might be scared. So
Yeah.
I don't want to scare you or anything. I just need to make sure na effective yung cleansing if you really do want to be cleansed. Kasi
Mm-hmm.
linisin nila ng linisin ng bahay, kung nasa sa kwarto mo yung kalat, hindi malilinis, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Diba? So, um, uh, before you guys start cleansing the house, you might want to acknowledge first that there is indeed an entity inside the house. So, iparead nyo muna yung bahay.
Okay.
'Di ba? Kasi baka kasi mamaya pag halimbawa nag-cleansing siya. And I'm just putting this out there, and I don't mean to scare anyone, but for example, the house is haunted. Let's just put it that way. And then tahimik lang naman siyang nadudun sa namamahay sa. Remember
Mm-hmm.
the house in the movie? Na
Yes.
nananahimik yung mga spirit sa loob, ginulo nyo ng ginulo,
Oo, baka
maging
Magalit.
lalo sila
Yeah.
magalit at maging malevolent. So you need to make sure first to understand what the spirits are inside the house,
Mm-hmm.
and then before you start cleansing, because hindi pwedeng generic cleansing lang siya ng
Yes.
sage and all that. That depends on the entity or the spirit inside the house.
There has to be
Okay.
communication. I mean, cliche, pero there has to be communication first
Yeah.
before you
I was actually medyo scared nga to like even like email you guys because I was like, oh my gosh, if they read like my letter, paano na this email? Like knowing that I know about them and I'm talking about them. So medyo I was scared now of like repercussions if they knew na parang ganon. Because even after I sent that email, I feel like it got even parang more intense in a way. Parang it became more common. So I feel like they've sort of acknowledged that I know now. So either, yeah, they're trying to reach out or, you know,
there could be a reason 'di ba? There could be a reason they're trying to it amplified recently. They could be warning you. It could be a warning to for you to look at something and be aware of something. I'm not sure. Again, these are just observations from some people we've talked to na this other person na naging active yung spirits around that person, and yung pala parang may masamang mangyayari. So I'm not sure if it's related. If there's a reason they are doing this now. You're saying it got active a month after your grandfather's di ba?
yeah, but it's like specifically right after I wrote that letter. Like when I
Okay.
wrote that letter, that's really when everything started happening. Talaga.
Kasi yung letter na sinulat mo is not Dear Ate Charo. Parang alam niyo, hindi siya ganun.
Yeah.
More on your talking to the person eh. I'm
Yeah.
seeing, I don't wanna say,
Yeah.
I don't know what the words are, but I feel parang, oh my God, salita, parang may kasamang sumbat, may kasamang because of you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, yun yung nararamdaman ko. Hence, papunta ng, alam mo yung parang, naramdaman ng lolo mo, ng spirit ng lolo mo na, well, you felt that. Okay, this is what I felt when you were growing up. This is what I've been going through and thinking while you are growing up. Nagka-clash siya, kaya nag-shake yung mga location, yung kama mo. It's because medyo, alam mo yun, medyo, huy, gumising kayo, ganong klaseng, huy, tingnan mo ko, kausapin mo ko. And the reason why a lot of the entities are now manifesting is because amplified sila ng yung need ng lolo mo na makipag-communicate sa'yo. So nakikita ng mga spirits sa paligid mo na ay, ina-acknowledge nitong batang to yung matanda, teka lang ako din.
Okay.
And that will how do you call that? That will parang domino effect yan. Once that you acknowledged one, you have to acknowledge everything.
Okay.
Unfortunately, it comes with the territory, if that makes sense.
It does. Okay. So I have to talk to them now. I was actually
No,
wondering
don't talk to them, ah. Don't talk to
Ano
them.
ka ba?
Don't talk to
Hindi.
them.
Don't talk to
Okay.
them.
Huwag ka matakot.
Acknowledge.
Dyan. Okay. Remember what you did the other time when you said, tumahimik kayo tapos biglang tumahimik yung aircon?
Yeah.
It's something to that effect. That's what you need to do. You need
Okay.
to tell them na, alam mo yung sinasabi
Yes,
ni
blue flame.
Maria,
Yeah,
blue flame,
okay.
the righteous
Yeah.
anger
Oo.
of telling you, okay, meron kayong sinasabi, ano yan, isa-isa lang.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Alam mo yun,
that makes
you,
sense.
you need to make sure na parang may force ka din,
My
regardless.
order.
Oo, may order na sabihin nyo sa akin, pero isa-isa lang sa inyo kasi hindi pwede yung sabay-sabay kayo kasi everything will fall off. Believe me when I say na pag halimbawa nag-open ka na, sunod-sunod yan, but you need to now learn how to
To set boundaries.
to set boundaries.
Yeah.
Okay, matutulog na ako, tama na to. Tapos pag for example, natutulog ka na, nag-start na mag-shake, hampasin mo na malakas ang kama mo. Titigil
Not
yan,
now.
promise.
Okay.
I suggest you listen to that episode, yung light worker na episode. Si Maria na, she's a light worker in Denmark. And one of the things she taught us, kami, na natuto doon is, yun nga, you should deal with, it's okay to deal with these entities and these spirits with anger. But parang it's righteous anger. Parang, hey, this is my space. Don't invade my space. Don't invade my sleeping time. Parang ganon. So,
Yeah.
you also emit that. When you think that, when you feel that, you also emit that, and they see it in that dimension, in that frequency. They see it emitting from you. So you have to feel it and really feel it. Hindi lang yung sinasabi mo. Kasi I'm sure yung sa aircon, baka na-feel mo talaga na, uy, tigil nyo yan.
Yeah.
Parang ganun. Stop it. Diba? Parang, they probably saw it also.
Okay.
Diba?
For me, siguro just make sure na if you're gonna do that, make sure that you're firm and like your beliefs are firm. Alam mo yun? Kasi
Yeah.
pag nandyan na, you might freak out.
Yes. Actually, na-mention niya nga sa email niya, are they approaching me because I'm a sabi niya.
Yeah.
So, I told him, we're the same. I'm a really a scaredy cat talaga. And
Me
I
too,
think si Liz
actually.
rin. So, but again, talking about this and talking to people who have the gift and have these sensitivities, it's making me a little bit, ako, personally, a little bit less afraid. I'm still afraid, but I'm less afraid because there's a way to understand it eh.
For me, if you're gonna talk to them, for me lang I don't think you should do the righteous anger or blue flame thing. Maybe you should do what the exorcist told you to do, which is to bless them
Yes.
instead of getting mad at them.
Yeah.
It might make things worse.
Correct.
Okay.
Actually, yung sinasabi naman na blessing ni exorcist kasi, it's almost the same thing. What the blue flame and the blessing does is first acknowledge your presence and know your boundaries. Alam ng when you say kasi I blessed you for this, and this, and this, then that means that you know na nandiyan sila. I bless you for kung ano man yung nangyari sa iyo, ganyan. So, blessing, yes, it would work. Pero pag yung katulad niya na may physical manifestation, may possibility kang masaktan, lalo na yung usual mong yung sleepwalking mo, yung sleep paralysis mo, the shaking of the room, ganun yon. Medyo kailangan mo ng immediate and abrupt na action, which you can make use of the righteous anger. But again, depende yan sa'yo. So like for example, sabi mo nga kanina, may plano naman kayo magpa-bless ng house. Magpa-read ka muna ng house, and then once that you've read the place, find out what they are in there, you bless them and see if that will work. Kasi remember because I just did a reading and as well a cleansing on my friend's house.
Na-cleanse ka na.
Yeah. I didn't do anything. I literally didn't do anything. I was prepared with everything, with the ritual and all that. But the blessing did work. Kasi yung spirit dun sa house ng friend ko was there for the longest time. So I said, we are acknowledging that you're here. We're sorry if there's any problem that lately na nangyayari, but you have to forgive us, and but most importantly, we forgive you for what you're doing. So I hope that you go to the light wherever you. Right after that, wala na siya. So maaaring pwede mong daanin yun. Again, knowing kung ano yung entity na nasa sa paligid mo. But if not, then you have to literally use the righteous anger.
Okay.
Basta be careful
Just be careful. Okay.
and be strong.
Okay.
And have the intention, and really have that intention. You have to not just say it, you have to believe it. Parang ganun. You have to have that intention. Again, we'll try to update me, and then we can get in touch with kasi the exorcist is also busy. We don't get to talk to him a lot. And kami naman is, we're just basing this on experience, of course. Diba? Pero if you're gonna have your place blessed, and again, try to get a reading.
Maybe try to get a Benedictine medal.
Yes, Saint Benedict medal.
Okay.
Ay, get it from a church, wag sa Quiapo.
At church.
And have it blessed.
Okay.
And have it blessed. Kasi sa Quiapo, minsan iba yung nakasulat sa...
Judgmental kayo.
Hindi, iba nakasulat sa bendal minsan daw eh.
Yun nga talaga.
Oo.
I'm sensing a classmate card. I don't know what's happening. Meron ba siyang storya?
A classmate?
Oo. I don't know if it's yours though, but yeah, I think it's yours.
I don't think so.
Meron kasi parang feeling ko meron akong may na-experience na din one of your classmates, babae mong classmate.
Babae na classmate na like super...
Diyan sa bahay nyo.
Really? I'll have to ask them then. Kasi parang... Because I've had classmates then that go to my house. And then, yeah. Medyo...
Meron ng isa dyan. Think of the first 5 names.
Yes.
5 names.
3
Okay.
to 5 names.
3 to 5 names. Isa doon ganun. Isa doon yung may kwento.
In my house.
Yes.
In my house. In your house. I mean,
Okay.
in your house.
In your house. Okay.
In your house. Oo, kasi nakita ko siya parang yellow yung damit niya, so I can't remember. I don't know who she is. I don't know who she is. But yun lang.
Okay.
So again, meron siyang kwento that she wants to share but she's afraid of sharing it to you. So probably this is the best time to reach out to them.
Buti lang I only have like 5 girl classmates that's been to my house. So,
Easier
okay
to
naman. Yeah, easier to figure
whittle
out.
down, yeah.
It's actually really interesting. Because one thing that just came up that I kind of remembered, I didn't really want to bring it up because it's medyo insignificant. But I've also been noticing, I think they really are trying to reach out to me. Because when I go to bed, I usually have like YouTube then to like sort of block out like whatever's going on. And I usually have downloaded videos because our internet turns off pa. But like when I wake up, like usually the thing that wakes me up is like a video about ghosts or like a video about angels, like something like that. Like I woke up, I think the other night, and it was just like top 10 types of angels that are like scary and stuff like that. And it was very
On your laptop?
on my phone beside
On your
my
phone?
bed. Yeah.
Have you listened to our episode yung Spirit Guides?
Is that the recent one, the most recent
No,
one?
that's sorry. I haven't memorized the numbers.
I can check it
Haba-haba
out.
yung listahan.
Mahaba.
All
Pero
of it.
this is very similar to what she's been saying kasi again, Spirit Guides could be bantay. Wait, Spirit Guides 28, episode 28. So she said na
28.
that's how her spirit guides communicate with her. So minsan may signs sa may master numbers, may signs sa numbers na when she sees the clock 11:11, mga ganon. So she realized na this is how her spirit guides talk to her because she cannot physically or even mentally talk to them. She can send messages mentally, I mean, for herself to them, but she does not receive. So that feeling niya, that's
okay.
how they communicate with her. So if you've been seeing yun nga, angels and all that, it's probably a spirit guide telling you something. Yun nga,
Okay.
you just have, it's yun lang, may deciphering involved.
Okay. Is there like a way to address them? Like if I write on a piece of paper, like just like talking to them, will they acknowledge that?
Do you want
Is
me
that
to like connect you with her and at least you guys can talk about it? She has more experience, but again, it's up to you.
Okay.
You can ask her kasi ako she's been mas siya yung naka-experience kasi nung ganun. Na spirit guides communicating with her. As in she has stories pa nga na that she sees a feather. Parang she sees feathers in her house, in her workplace before, and imposibleng may feather kasi wala namang bird
Yeah.
in that place. And feeling niya, yun nga yung communication niya of the spirit guides with her.
Baka nga yun yung ganun, yung black dots na nakikita mo.
Yes, oo.
It could be a manifestation of your bantay. So, medyo, if you can go back, na-drawing mo ba yung imaginary friend mo nung bata ka?
No naman. Parang, I can't find
Baka kasi,
any.
baka lang kasi, baka feeling ko kasi ganun, yun yung manifestation niya sa'yo. That's what I feel, na baka yung black dots, yun yung manifestation na sa'yo, na hoy, panahon na pa-re-acknowledge mo
Yeah.
ako. Kasi, to be honest the more that we go on our adult lives, the less you feel them. Tapos baka mamaya nga yun, di ba yung nangyari sa akin na baka mamaya totally maka-cut off ka na. Kasi
Yes.
once that you go to your adult life, dadami yung activities mo, wala ka na masyadong time for, nonsensical things like this.
Yes,
So,
definitely.
siguro nag-overdrive sila ngayon. Pero, magiging adult ka na, time na for you to acknowledge me or else, I'm gonna go.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, that's possible, oo.
So is it like okay if I like write to them? Is that like an option?
I mean, oo.
That depends on you. Kasi ako naman, kasi again, at the end of the day, kasi it's on your intention. If actually the more that if you're going to write to them, the moment that ball pen touches the pad, they already can see it and they can already feel it because your intention is to communicate to them. So probably after no letter na yon, there would be signs in front of you na kailangan ikaw talaga yung maka-decipher kasi mahirap talaga yung ikaw yung the messages that comes to you might not be the same messages that I can read from here, if that makes sense. So you have to be the one that deciphers the code kasi sa'yo yung hunting.
It's personal for you.
Okay.
They call it nga na parang sometimes they call it synchronicities na parang wow, grabe naman, sobrang namang timing nito na nangyari to when this is happening. Parang ganon. So you will have to notice, will have to be aware. You'll have to be aware of the small details that they could be communicating to you through these things. Through master numbers, through whatever.
Wow, I'm so shocked. I didn't even know that I could have like a spirit guide. Like
Actually, a lot, pero marami talagang may spirit guides.
Okay.
Usually, sometimes, yun nga, kamag-anak eh. Tama, Sam, di ba? Minsan kamag-anak, minsan yun lang, total, marami kami nakausap na they are not related. For some reason, they were, the doctor we talked to, her spirit guide was a woman who died in the room where she slept.
Okay.
And eventually forged her career into being a medical professional. Kasi nalaman niya yung story ng girl na yun who died. And gave, from what we could surmise is, gave her that ability to read auras. From a spirit. She got that, probably she had it innately, but it was amplified.
Okay.
It was amplified by that spirit. So, again, ako I don't ask them, but I have a feeling I don't have a spirit guide. Because I don't want to, I don't want to know.
Meron, nasa likod mo.
They don't. Si
Please,
Direk is the
ayoko.
biggest scaredy cat on the podcast.
I'm the biggest. Even if I do this podcast, I'm one of the biggest scaredy cats. Nahirapan ako manood ng horror movies and all that.
Yeah.
So don't feel na just because natatakot. Pero yun, fear also eh. Fear attracts certain certain entities from a lower frequency. That's what they say. That's what they say. So I could understand at your age, sobra akong takotin pa. Sobra ako.
Yeah. Honestly, though, going on here, medyo, I feel less parang afraid of it. Kasi diba, a lot of fear talaga stems from not knowing what it actually is.
Not knowing, yes, that's
Yeah.
true. That's true.
So at least now parang there's a bit more clarity in terms of demystifying all the things that are bugging me in my life.
Oo. I would suggest you try to, Sam, hindi ko alam kung may iba kayong advice. Pero sa akin, try to watch Miss Star's video. Or I'll send you the link. Kasi she kind of explains spirits. She kind of explains spirits and why they are here, why they manifest. And one of the people we talked to, he's a famous photographer, he also said na for spirits to manifest, they have to expend energy. So it's not easy for them to do that. So what's happening to you is may energy involved to shake your bed.
To
And there's
shake
a
my bed,
reason
yeah.
for that spirit to do that. And it's expending energy. Parang technically may pagod rin sila if they do that. So there must be a reason for that. So I have a feeling you have to acknowledge that and find out what the reason is.
Okay. Yeah.
Hindi ko lang paano, pero hindi ko lang paano malalaman, pero I'm not sure.
Hindi, siguro ganun. If writing comes normal to you, then
Yeah.
you do it that way. Kasi obviously, nung first time mo magsulat, tsaka nag-activate lahat ng
Actually,
yan eh. So
tama.
I feel
Makes
like
sense.
if you write to them, they will reply to you in their language, which means pwedeng, like for example, tonight, pakibuin mo yung lamesa ko kung lolo kita. Yung ganon. Parang alam mo yun kasi, although it's funny, yes,
Yeah.
but kung doon nagko-communicate then
Yes.
you literally don't have a choice on how they communicate anyways. Mahirap din naman sila sabihin, sige nga kausapin mo, ba't nakakatakot naman yata yun.
Just don't do yung mga spirit of the glass, ha?
Wag don't do
Don't do
Spirit
that,
of the Glass and yung
No.
Ouija board. Have you had dreams ba?
I don't get dreams, but my mom gets dreams a lot actually from my lola. Like on Father's Day, she got a dream, and then especially like when he died, she got a lot of dreams because they had a connection talaga. But I think also a big part of it then is because it was so sudden for us. So I feel like that's also another reason why he could be reaching out. Kasi parang it was just like out of nowhere na lang. Like I hear it was peaceful, but still, I guess, my unfinished things he wants to say.
There's a reason for earthbound spirits talaga eh. Parang they have unfinished business. They have something left to say or yun nga. So you that's something to find out. Yung sa dreams ng mom mo, meron bang messages? So, I'm not sure if whatever in the dream ng mom mo, baka may messages for you doon that she didn't tell you. Not sure.
I'll have to ask her then.
You have to ask her what are the messages your lolo said.
Or is it possible, I'm just, grasping for ideas here. Is it possible na meron kayo, I don't wanna push any buttons or anything. Pero before your grandfather passed, kamusta yung communication niyo?
Oh, sorry.
Ano yun, Karl?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, we can, but it's really faint. Kamusta naman yung communication yung dalawa ng lolo mo?
Ayaw nung lolo niya makwento.
Sabihin ko pala.
Sorry.
Ayaw nung lolo niya
Parang
makwento.
feeling ko nga eh.
Oh my gosh, my sound cut
It's
out.
okay, wag na lang.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Can you repeat that? Sorry, I didn't get to hear it. Cut off.
How's the communication between you and your lolo before he passed? Medyo tsaka, no?
Hindi naman tsaka kasi the thing was I don't really have problems with my lolo. It's really my parents. So at the time, so I didn't get to see him the last time he was here. I was only of his grandkids who are still in this house who didn't get to see him the last time. So I think that's about it.
Kasi baka mamaya, the reason why yung mom mo yung nakakapanaginip, no? And you just physical manifestation is because of the communication. Baka mamaya kasi, ano yun? Parang, ang feeling ko parang messenger girl si mami. Parang gano'n, parang sabihin, ay, sabi kay lolo, ganito, ganyan. Tapos, si mami mo din naman sabi, ay nga, parang sabi ni lolo mo, ganito daw dapat yung kembot. Parang gano'n.
Okay.
Yun yung nararamdaman ko. Kaya baka mamaya, ang message, hindi mo mabasa or hindi mo makita kasi pinapadaan sa mami mo.
Okay.
So, ask mo sa mami mo, baka mami may message siya. Tapos you'll be surprised na yung message, yung mga sinasabi ng lolo mo sa panaginip ng mami mo
Are for you.
are literally answers to your letter.
Oh, okay.
Yes, that
Oh
makes
my.
sense.
Yun lang, baka
Okay.
just figure that out. Baka mamaya kasi dun ka makakuha ng clarity if ever.
Okay. I'll ask her later then. Oh my gosh.
If she's still up, it's already 8.
We haven't even had dinner yet. We're like,
Ay pareho kayo ni Liz.
Oo, ganun talaga pag ano.
Ganun talaga kami mga bagets ngayon.
Ano ako, Liz? Baka mamaya masaktan kita.
So Carl, do you have other things you want to ask kaya or
Any other stories na
any story?
any other stories?
Sige, go lang.
I have like one story, I think. Kasi as a kid then, I think I was around 7 years old. My school was like really far from my house. It was like 45 minutes. So I would always sleep in the car. And then one time, I remember we were driving past like this sort of alleyway, like near the Palenque. And I would see like these like people who were like, they didn't have the Cupid's bow or something like that. And then I remember looking up. I said this in the email. I looked up and then they were like, one guy was like waving at me. So that's why also I was asking about like sort of like auras and stuff like that. Because I was so shocked na parang like, how did he know that I was like in here? Because the car was like heavily tinted talaga. It was like very dark. And then I look up and as the car passes by, he has like eye contact with me and he's like waving at me talaga. So that's sort of like a story I guess I have.
mostly elementals yung ganun, yung mga walang cupid go.
0 points ako sa elementals, girl.
Ay nga pala, sorry. The reason why they are at they did that is because they know that
You can see them.
they know that you can see them.
Hmm.
One thing na how do you call that, na nagiging problema ng mga tao with the ability is that minsan talaga minsan with an untrained eyes, minsan hindi natin na, nalalaman kung tao ba o hindi tinititigan natin. So pag halimbawa nakita mo sila tapos nakita ka nilang nakatingin sa kanila, automatic 'yon. Lalapit a-attach 'yun sa'yo talaga. Gagawin yun kasi that means na kumbaga parang it's not an unfinished business or anything. It's just that it's really unique for them, for people to see them. Kasi nga, dapat invisible sila.
Oh, okay. It was weird kasi, I'm sorry kung medyo, if it's a little loud. But it was weird because there were a lot of them eh. It was like a gang of guys talaga.
How do they look like though? Other than wala silang cupids though, what are they wearing?
I think the best way to describe it is sort of like if Gandhi wasn't old, I guess. Medyo bald. They were bald. Like the one specifically that looked at me was like bald talaga. And then parang he didn't really have eyebrows from what I remember. And then his eyes were really wide talaga. And he was just like waving at me. And then I remember just like feeling the urge to parang sit up and then look out the window. And then that's sort of what I saw.
So they are encantos. They are not just humans. They're not just elementals. They're literally the deities of mga elemental. Encanto to mga to. Kasi,
Talaga?
oo. Med, medyo, I'm just grasping in straws here. Medyo, hindi man maputi, pero pale looking, pero iridescence yung dating ng mga skins nila.
Yeah, medyo, ng konti.
So, encanto itong mga nakita mo. So,
Saan yan? Saan banda?
palengke daw eh.
Hindi, bigla
Saan
ako
palengke
na-intriga.
to?
Saan palengke yan?
I don't know. Basta it was like in the middle of QC lang.
Okay,
The, like
QC.
wet market there. And then like we were passing through one of the smaller roads. And then parang I just like saw like this like group of people talaga. And I don't know. For me, it was medyo strange kasi they would look like they were just like there lang, hanging out, nakatambay. And then, yeah, I felt the urge to look up and then they were waving at me, like one guy.
Baka may attachment sila dun sa palengke kasi baka maya parang sa puno nila or
Mm-mm.
sa ganun nila, sa alaga nila. Kasi Encantos kasi mostly, di ba, obviously naman laging sa puno-puno yan. Baka
Yes, oo.
mamaya naputol yung puno nila. Nakita nila yung prutas nila. Hoy, prutas namin yan. Amin yan. Pero ganun, medyo ganun sila. Attached sila sa mga ganung klase. Eh. So yeah, most probably Encanto.
Carl, ka-question lang. May iba ka bang family members who have sensitivity? Who have the sensitivity or
Not
may ganyan rin
really.
experiences?
The only ones that I know, like my lola, kasi she told me na she's like seen ghosts talaga, like in her old house, kasi it was like very run down.
Mm-mm.
But like otherwise, wala naman. And then the other one was parang, like my lola naman, he believed in the parang the saliva thing, the one you guys were talking about.
Yes.
Kasi he's from Dagupan, so like usually naman he uses it lang for tinik. So like if someone has tinik, he would lick
Yes,
their
oo.
necks. So yeah, that's about it lang. Parang I haven't heard from anyone else that are like that.
You mentioned a story sa email. You might want to tell them about it. I won't tell them. I won't tell it kasi I haven't sent it to them. Yung the thing that your lola did yung lola from Visayas.
Oh yeah. That's something. So my lola, she had a lot of like miscarriages, and then so she put like the baby in like the mayonnaise jar, that sort of thing. And then parang I think she said it was like for good luck or something like that, from what I remember.
Yeah. Oo.
I can only imagine. I can feel what's happening right now. Saan sa Visayas ba?
Cebu, cause like parang she was like cause she couldn't have babies for a long time, and then that's why my mom and my titas have a big age gap. So I feel like that's sort of why she did that.
So sa mom side mo,
Yeah.
Same lola who could see spirits?
No, that's
different
my
lola.
dad's side
Other
naman.
side.
Okay.
We can't find it actually because like when my cousin was growing up in that house, like sometimes he'd say that he'd open the cupboards and he'd find it. He'd think it's like a snack or something. And then
Oh my God.
he looks at
Oh my God. Medyo, medyo
so yeah.
morbid yung snack ng pizza mo.
Kasi my lola's medyo a hoarder din kasi she
Oo.
lived through World War II. So
Okay,
she has
yes.
like this thing that she needs to keep a lot of things. So I feel like yeah, that's why medyo nakakatakot. And then it's scarier than because her house is the one like that house in the street na medyo nakakatakot talaga. Like there's so much damo, tapos it's like dirty outside, yung mga ganon. So it parang amplifies it talaga na the spook factor of like finding like a fetus there.
So Carl, ibang effect mo kay Sam. Si Sam ngayon lang naging ganyan ka-active ang kanyang remote viewing.
O hindi kasi wala si JM ngayon.
Ano yun, Liz?
Vacuum.
Vacuum.
Baka mamaya ganun, Carl, you'd feel, how do you call that? Drained.
Drained also.
So, ganun ka. Pahinga ka lang later.
Okay.
Sorry.
Try.
Kasalanan ni Sam.
But honestly, I feel like I feel less worried naman about it. So I feel like I hope that I can recharge better because of like this experience with you guys. So I'm very grateful for that. So thank you.
Oo. Sige. Let us know na lang if you have other questions. I know may pasok ka pa. So,
Maybe put salt on your bedside.
yes. So, try to do that.
If it
Definitely, yeah. I bought salt na for that.
Rock
So,
salt.
yun na
Kailangan rock salt. Di pwedeng iodized.
yes.
Kasi hindi ka magluluto. Then just keeping it light. Make sure na gano'n na kung if possible, maglagay ka ng salt around your bed para if ever hindi sila masyadong makalapit sa bed mo.
Okay.
Yeah, that really works naman daw. Okay, we hope we helped you in
Yes,
in any small way.
definitely.
Oo.
You guys helped me a lot.
If you have any question na
Yeah.
lang, reach out ka na lang kay
Yes, just
Yes.
email and I'll relay it to them. So when is the scheduled cleansing?
We haven't worked through the logistics yet, so we're
Okay.
not too sure. But that's what we're hoping for. But because nga you guys suggested na we reach out muna, I think I'll try to find a way to do that first.
Yeah. Mm-mm.
Definitely.
Or maybe if that person, the tarot reader, can talk to spirits, maybe she can talk to your lolo for you.
Yeah.
Actually,
Okay.
yes. Kasi kung may message man lang naman talaga, it's better to have it out na.
Mm-hmm. He can say now what he needs to say.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you for reaching out, and I hope we helped you in whatever little way we
Yes,
you
definitely.
know.
Okay.
Sige. Okay. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank
Ingat.
you.
Okay.
Thank you,
Sige.
Okay.
Carl.
So we
Thank
go
you,
na.
Karl.
Okay.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Good luck.
Thank you, Karl, for deciding to be open about certain aspects of your life. For Sam and Liz to be able to read and tell you what might be happening. They would be the first people to tell me that their intuitive observations are not 100% accurate, but just try to resonate with which ones feel real and true for you. Thank you, Liz and Sam, for joining the call. Most of the time, the charmed ones are always behind the scenes, listening, chiming in, and of course, they are willing to help when necessary. Napansin nyo ba yung powers ni Sam? Pakotepat ako, nagulat ako dun eh. Nagulat kami ni Liz na biglang may mga bitaw na ganun eh. Could that mean na na-achieve na ni Sam yung gusto niya na ma-reactivate yung powers niya? Let's see. Sa future episodes, you will find out yung gradual development ng kanyang abilities. Yung pagbalik. If you've had experiences similar to Karl, maybe the instances and advice in this episode will help you decipher what could be happening to you as well. Alam nyo, up till now, di ko rin gets bakit ba kailangan pag may message ang spirits, kailangan i-decipher, di ba? Di nilang sabihin na diretso no? Anyway, if what you've experienced is different and you want to share it with us, just email us at paranormalsph@gmail.com. If you prefer to chat about it with like-minded peeps, you can join our Discord server and talk about it with us over there. Link is in the show notes below. Madaming nag-share doon. Baka meron rin makatulong doon if meron kang di maintindihan na experience or something. Na-enjoy nyo ba na marinig sila Sam and Liz? Na-inspire ata sila sa mga kwentuhan namin. So, ayun, gumawa na rin sila actually ng sarili nilang podcast. If you want to continue listening to them, of course, go ahead, please support them. You can listen to Sam's podcast. It's on Spotify. A Cup of Coffee podcast, where no topic is taboo. You can also follow Liz on Swipe podcast, where they talk about dating in the modern age. Ayan. Sa mga sumusunod sa Discord, alam nila yan. Pero para sa mga gustong mag-connect during this time of pandemic. So, link are in the show notes below. Para akong magulang nito, nanganak agad ng twins, dalawa kaagad. Pero I'm proud and I'm happy that they are stretching their wings and trying out new things, diba? Pero if enjoy sila dito sa Paranormal Podcast, for sure, ma-enjoy nyo yung podcast nila. The Paranormal Podcast is engineered and produced by F90 Productions. If you have the time, please again rate and review our show on whatever podcast platform you follow. Thank you for listening to all the podcast loyalists, newbies, haters. Everyone, please stay safe.